So anyway, I'm Charles with Project 222, and you're an American University student studying public health. So you're gonna relate, I think, Allie. Project 222 says that we should all have dignified access within civil society to a minimum of 2 gallons of clean water, 2,000 nutritional calories, and 200 cubic feet of secure shelter. So 222 being the basis, and you might recognize Maslow's hierarchy of needs there. And you might recognize that if we had people at the border, that they had a alternative place to go, they would go where they would have dignified access to food, water, shelter, health care, and community, right? So what do you think of that as a possibility?
I think, as a possibility, that's where we should be aiming for. I just think with the way that people are viewing government and viewing immigration at this point, there's so much miscommunication and so much misunderstanding that actually getting people to understand that those are basic human rights
Right.
is going to be much harder than we'd realize. So as a public health student, one of my main things is that healthcare is a human right.
Right.
So being the next generation, I want to spread that message and spread the message that you are also trying to spread.
Yeah.
That people who come here are the same as you and me, and they deserve that.
Wherever they are,
access.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Are you familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm thinking, and we're thinking as part of the organization that 222, dignified access to food, water, shelter, helps every one of those Sustainable Development Goals, whether it be health care or poverty, infant mortality. It's all dependent. In fact, life is dependent on 222. And therefore, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, which we've all heard many times, is inalienable right? And you can't have life without 222. Therefore, certain eminent domain over finite, naturally occurring resources, there could be an argument made that those technologies and resources are public property. It's not just because you came to the river first doesn't mean that you're the only one to be able to drink out of it, right?
I mean, this country is built on stealing from other people, so we have absolutely no right to tell people that they can't come here and have access to the resources that we took
It's
from
an
others.
interesting perspective. Interesting perspective. But we do have to maintain some sort of order within
Yes,
our boundaries,
obviously.
and in order to help. It's the same thing if you're a lifeguard. First, make sure you're safe yourself, and then or the oxygen mask, right? Make sure you've got your 222 so that you're strong enough to. But once you get that, don't ignore the person in the street, because we're afraid of the person in the street, so we don't want to stop and talk to them. Maybe we're afraid because they'll cause us harm. Maybe we're afraid because we might be there too. Were you to translate this experience with your professor, or your sister, or your mom, how would you relate this last 3 or 4 or 5 minutes?
Well, my mom is a doctor,
Uh-huh.
and so that's what got me interested in health in the first place. And coming from a place like Missouri, it's hard to communicate these messages sometimes because people don't necessarily greet you with an open mind. So probably explaining to my friends or family this about there are people out there who are making it their life's work to spread this message and educate others and kind of bring order to the extreme chaos in viewpoints that's going on right now.
Right.
Project 222 is a human rights project spreading the message that people deserve to have basic needs, and as a government we need to ensure that we can provide basic needs to our own citizens as well as basic needs to people who are seeking refuge.
Right. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.